Try to get it to her.
Okay, I guess it's
And answer that.
going to be starting.
We have to wait. Oh, she's back.
Thank you, Heather. The hour of 3:30 having arrived, I'm going to call to order the September 16, hi Patricia, meeting of the Laconia Human Relations Committee. I'm going to start welcoming the members here and all the members of our community in the audience today. I'm going to call the roll. Kay Anderson, Carrie Chandler is excused. Richard Littlefield.
Here.
Patricia Okanito.
Here.
Faith Pakasuk.
Here.
David Osmond. Here. Carol Pierce. Not yet. Seifu Regasa. Matt Souza.
Here.
Heather Stanley.
Here.
Patrick Wood. Here. Judith Wright.
Here.
Thank you. So we have a quorum. So I will call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the review and acceptance of the August 12, 2025 meeting minutes, which have been submitted to all of you.
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
Motion made by Matt. Is a second? Seconded by David Osmond. Any suggestions, changes? All in favor of adoption?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next item are the minutes of the September 4, 2025 meeting, and those were also sent out, I believe, to everybody.
Make a motion to accept as written.
Okay, again, Matt, make a motion, seconded by David Osmond. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. That's perfect. Okay, work groups, MLK Event Committee. Thank you, Judy.
Yes, so we're going to be meeting on the 24th, planning especially in that meeting, the music for the program, the food, and possibly a volunteer program to accompany it. That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
so the 24th of September?
Yes.
All right, and we'll talk about where we meet and whatever.
Yes, yes, I understand that.
Yeah, we'll be doing that a little bit later. Okay. Again, banners and flags, again, nothing to report on that. Rally sign committee.
Nothing new.
Homelessness committee. I've sent out copies of the minutes of the various meetings of the committee. And I don't know if you want to make a report, Richard.
Well, I don't necessarily have a report to make. We haven't had a meeting in a couple weeks. I would like to take a second, though, to speak, if I may.
Absolutely, Richard.
The climate around the conversation that I started a few months ago has gone from a simple post or two to something taxing on me and prior relationships throughout the city. Every once in a while, you have to know when to walk away before this situation escalates. So I'd like to effective immediately resign as the chairperson of the Laconia Homelessness Committee and ask that somebody either from this committee or the subcommittee take my place so that we can get back to doing good work. Thank you.
All right. Well, Richard has offered to resign as the chair of the subcommittee. Any comments from people?
I have something I'd like to say.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to try to be brief, but at the last meeting of the homelessness subcommittee and at the last week's meeting of the full committee here, obviously a lot of people attended who were very concerned, and they made a lot of comments and expressed themselves. And I have a feeling that we have a lot of people here in attendance who are also primarily interested in that. So I've been spending the week talking to a lot of people because one thing I'm able to do is talk to a lot of people in all kinds of different facets of the community. And I think that the homelessness subcommittee, for several reasons, has for the time being achieved its purpose. And I think, and I'm going to make a motion after I explain why, I'm going to make a motion that it should be at least temporarily paused for the time being. And the reason I feel that is when the people behind the pod project contacted us and we formed the subcommittee, it was to learn about their project because they wanted to talk about it and to make the wider community aware of it. I think those goals have been met and then some, and I think this is proof of that. And which, by the way, I don't personally find a bad thing. I think it's a positive thing. It has also led to a lot of people expressing things that I think are important, including their frustration with this issue in Laconia, and that it's been ongoing for a long time. And a lot of people don't feel listened to in their concerns. And some of which goes beyond really this committee or any subcommittee of it. Given all that, and given that I think the goal was met, the goals that we had in forming it, and particularly considering that the situation right now in Laconia is very different from when the subcommittee was formed. When it was formed, we didn't know that Mayor Hosmer not only would not be seeking re-election, but would step down before the end of his last term, and that we would have a temporary mayor to fill out his term, who has said repeatedly that he does not want to start new initiatives in any sense until, while he's here, until after the election, where we will have a new mayor one way or another. And the new mayor may have all kinds of thoughts about this issue and others, and may have all kinds of thoughts about this committee. We've already talked among ourselves about maybe there should be changes and things should be done differently in this committee than the way it's always been done. And we want to give the new mayor, whoever he is, latitude, and the new city council. It might be a very different city council. So in view of all that, at some point in this conversation, I want to make a motion to at least temporarily pause the homelessness subcommittee. And I do want to do that and bring it to a vote, but I want to hear what everybody has to say. Thank you.
So there's a,
Go
ahead.
Could I offer comment? And I want to sort of jump the shark a little bit on the agenda and just mention in the context of the Mingle Cafe. For the folks that aren't aware of it, we've had these small gatherings, and it's attributable in part to a grant from the Endowment from Health, and there's a balance that the city has from that grant that we received, and it was basically to promote community dialogue. So I think a lot of people have been jumping on and off a fast-moving train on this issue. Some people have been more immersed in it for a period of time than others. And I want to get away from the technical legal stuff that would have to happen before planning boards and zoning boards of adjustment. Put all that stuff aside. I'm wondering whether or not that grant money would be more wisely spent, if we could, and I think we could, to have 2 or 3 community symposiums that would be structured and possibly facilitated. And my quick thought was, the first thing is people should come in with an open mind and try to learn. What is the extent of the issue? I think Laconia bears the brunt of the problem, but it ought not to be just the city of Laconia that is responsible for dealing with this. I think that a county is an arbitrary thing, but let's just talk about that for a minute. That there are other communities where this has greater and lesser immediate visible impacts, but perhaps it's more equitable to have them participate in a way and invite them in to have this learning discussion. The first thing I think, before everybody gets up and expresses strong opinions, I think we all ought to learn about what is this issue? How many folks are directly affected by this? What do we mean by homelessness? Is it people in their automobile? There are people that are visible and there are people that are invisible. This is a big population. So what's the proper role of government in this? That's a big question. How do we approach it? What kinds of proposed solutions around the country, if you will, have worked, and what haven't worked as well as they were envisioned? And then perhaps move from that discussion to possibly a second or a third one, not as a legal step toward approval, but as a community-based education project where maybe something would come out of it more positive than just the disagreements. Disagreements are healthy, but can this take a direction that makes sense with people having that kind of dialogue? And I'm just suggesting that perhaps we could shift gears on the Mingle Cafe to something else. And I just want to leave it out there generally. I don't have any specific proposal, but I think it's something for us to think about. Maybe just think about it for a while and come back to it at a later date.
Other people have comments? No. I know Reverend Wright, you were on the committee for the city dealing with these issues. So,
Oh, yeah, I was on the mayor's task force. I like your idea because that's kind of where I've come down, David, is it would be good to have a community, a number of probably forums on homelessness. And I hesitated to call Patrick once and talk to him about this, but I was thinking it would be really good to have all the people in Laconia who are working with the homeless, such as people at Isaiah 61, people at Belknap House, the people working with the God Pod Project. Family Promise is another one that we hear about in the clergy group. I'm sure there's other groups I'm not thinking of right now, and have them as well as just an open forum about bringing all those people together, to talk about this issue. And they're all experts I don't know if they're experts, but
Do you think, Judith, it ought to be broader than just Laconia initially, or?
Oh, I think that's a great idea, because one of the things I always hear as a criticism is that the people of Laconia have to bear the brunt of dealing with the homelessness who come here because there's all the services here for them. So yes, I think it ought to be spread out. Responsibility ought to be spread out. Yeah. So that's my thought.
I will comment very briefly on that particular issue. I have talked to the Belknap County Commissioners about the homelessness issue, and I think they would be receptive to being a part of that as well.
Oh, there's another group, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or comments on this? Carol?
Yes, I sat in on some of the subcommittee meetings. I was very impressed with what the recommendation was, that the people in the community do not know what it is. So I would like to see that a public forum is put out and it's used as a sample of how you do it at some level. And it's not the only way, and it's not necessarily the way that it will end up, but it was so enlightening to me how well thought through it was for a community. And I would like that not to be lost in the beginning.
Okay. So we have basically two things here. One, Richard has proposed that he resign as chairperson of the subcommittee. And Matt has indirectly moved that we postpone or put in abeyance any further action by that subcommittee until we get more things together. So if we take them up in the order in which they came, I guess the question is, do we want to accept Richard's resignation as chairperson of that subcommittee? And I think in respect for Richard, he's offering to step down. I think it would be appropriate. So any objection to accepting
I'd like
the
to ask a
resignation?
question. Your stepping down does not mean that you might not yet be involved.
Not,
No, I'm absolutely going to stay involved, yes.
Thank you.
but he doesn't want to be the chairperson of that
That's
subcommittee
fine.
anymore.
No, I'm not.
So-
That's his.
Any objection to accepting the resignation?
Of course not.
Okay, very well. Okay, Richard, thank you for your work on this. And obviously, you're going to continue to be involved in it, right?
Sure.
So the next question, you were going to make a motion?
Yes, and I'm making that motion.
Okay, so the motion is to basically pause the action of the subcommittee
Yes.
on homelessness,
At least until after the election, for
at least
sure.
until after after the first of the year.
Yes,
And a new,
right.
okay.
And a new, city governance.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Scott Ringer seconds. Any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
I feel sorry about that.
I'm sorry?
I feel sorry about that. We were doing well.
All right, please raise your hand if you're in favor of that motion. Okay, so I want to thank the people who have been involved in that subcommittee for their efforts. The next, the issue that David has raised is having a forum and Reverend Wright that would be open to the Lakes region generally to discuss some of the issues dealing with the homelessness. So I think what I would propose is that we have a small group of us start organizing that forum. And yes, I think the Endowment for Health would be a perfect source of funding for any of that.
Is there a deadline that we have to spend that by?
Thank you for asking that. I did check with the Endowment for Health, and we have an extension through the end of 2026.
Okay.
That's great.
Good.
So
And roughly, what is the balance in that?
about 15,000. I
Okay, all right, so.
have that in our financial report.
All right.
Yeah, $15,130.31, but there's going to be a slight reduction on that for the advertising for the Mingle Cafe,
Okay,
but about $15,000.
all right, thanks.
I assume that this is not going to occur until after the elections. Am I correct?
I don't know that. Or it would be after the election. We're not going to get something together before November, I don't think.
Yeah, because I think we'll need input from the new city council as well as the new mayor.
Yes.
For the forum? You may
It'd
maybe
be
do that. All right.
I think so.
The Housing Authority has been asked to put on a program in January dealing with the general need for housing in the Lakes region, Laconia in particular. And I will get more information on that from Kathy Bowler, who's the executive director. But they have information that they want to be able to present. So this would be a different forum for that.
Yeah.
We have the MLK event in January. So maybe we ought to be looking at February.
March, even later,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
a little later might be better, like March, not in the deep of winter.
Even March.
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
Yeah,
you're kidding.
I'm sorry.
the March will be late, it should
March?
be earlier,
Yeah.
Ugh,
should be earlier than March.
So, well,
that-
um,
but what are we doing?
we're trying to set up this forum on homelessness.
And not till then?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
I don't know why any governments particularly wait people know who are running for the offices. I think that the homeless problem just gets put off and put off, for everybody has to do it exactly right. And I'm wondering why there can't be informational meetings for people that start not having anything to do when the dates of people come on board. If they're informational, I don't know why we.
Right. I mean, it would be information for people who are currently sitting and those who have been elected to
Right.
serve. So, right. That's basically what you're saying.
I mean, November, we could have, what was it, September? Late October, November, we could have an informational meeting put together.
Well, how soon do you think we can put that together? I mean, that's the question. I mean,
What are you
you
thinking
know some of the
about?
players involved.
I'm pushing us.
I guess it depends on what your vision of this might be. For example, if you think that the elected representatives, our county delegation should really be strongly encouraged to come and participate or at least observe. Do you have the police? Do you have the first responders, people that are dealing with this literally feet on the ground, crisis by crisis, issue by issue, in a very tangible way. How do you bring that to a structured discussion without it being too loose and too anecdotal? And if you want to have a discussion about things that work and things that are still in a trial period, I don't know how you pull that together
Well,
without a
I
little bit
think,
of planning. That's
I think
my
some of those
point.
people should come, if they're running for office, and participate or be present and talk about it and how they reflect on it.
Yeah, but I want to get beyond just, I want to tell you what my opinion is. I feel strongly about blah, 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 blah. I think it has to be, I think everybody has to get on that bus together and learn what, how many people are affected? What's going on in the school system because of it? How is it impacting the hospital? How, when you deal with this, I think you have to develop, I think you need a little bit of time to think it through. I don't know what a little bit of time is, but I don't think it's like, let's get it on the calendar and we're gonna hit the ground running. I just think we need to float it out there. If people are sort of in agreement with it, then I think you get a small subcommittee and you use the resources that we have available and maybe get a facilitator to help that, because these people are going to come with a lot of strong opinions. And I think you're going to have the right kind of person to guide that discussion. And to, put it on to get the publicity out and have that publicity be meaningful. I just think, I know, I sense the impatience, but I think we have to go carefully with it. That's just my thought.
Could I add something?
Yes, please.
I think it's very good to have the various agencies and organizations that deal with facets of this in a meeting. But I think, and this is one reason I think maybe there would need to be more than one meeting. What I'm getting from people, and I think we heard some of this last week, and I think we might hear some more of it this week. I'm hearing from a lot of people who aren't experts and who aren't in this or that agency. But there are people in this area who deal on a daily basis with the difficulties and frustrations that various facets of this issue are directly impacting on their lives. And I think one of the things, if I'm not mistaken, that I'm hearing is that people don't feel heard. It's just a bunch of different agencies talking across each other or to each other. And I think there's a lot of frustration because in the past, there's been this initiative or that initiative, and it's either been viewed as fizzling out, not amounting to anything, or in some ways not helping or making things worse. And I think it would be good to have a way for people to express that, and be real about that. So I guess as going forward, maybe it would be better to have more than one with a meeting, symposium with different facets highlighted. But I think that should be a part of whatever we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I just don't know quite the sequence and how to do that. But that's what has to be thought out a little bit.
I'm going to suggest something here very briefly, modifying the agenda a little bit here. We have a space for public input in general on our agenda, but in light of this discussion, I would like to open up
Yeah,
this
good
part
idea.
of this
Yeah.
meeting for any public input, to hear from the people who are here, what they think about this type of a program and their timing of that. So
I'm very much in favor of that.
I will ask the public to come up, to whoever wants to have input, and identify yourself, please, for the record when you come up, and give your thoughts on this idea of having the symposium or meeting, as well as when it should be held. So,
Well-
thank you.
Good afternoon, Paul Lang.
Thank you.
Again, I learned a lot at your last meeting. Enough so that I went back because I asked a lot of pointed questions last time because there are concerns in the community. And I asked a lot of pointed questions. And I wasn't sure I understood all of them. So I went back and read every one of your minutes, printed them out, went through them with other people so that I would understand them. one thing I would ask you before I go into this is my understanding of the subcommittee setup within the city is that that's got to be part of your rules to be allowed to set up subcommittees. And I don't see that in your policies and procedures. So if you could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
As we go through, there's a lot being said.
Can I
Right, this
just-
does.
Yeah, I just,
Just a moment here now.
Sure.
Every committee that's set up basically has the right to set up little work groups to try to get specific information. So you're talking about some formal rules. Is that what you're asking about?
What I'm looking at is where it says subcommittees in Laconia, the governing document must include a clause that gives the management committee the power to establish subcommittees. And when I reviewed your document on the human relations policies and procedures, I couldn't find it. So if you could just clarify that, it'd be great. I think it was you that spoke. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. But
David.
David,
Yeah.
I think you spoke and you said that this is more than a Laconia problem. You're right, because that's why I'm here, because it's affecting Belmont as well. And it's affecting Guilford and the other surrounding towns. So it is a major problem. As I went back through, I saw a lot of things. I saw where it started, and I saw where it was going to be a $250 solution. There were going to be no taxpayer dollars incurred for the Pallet Village / God Pods.
Well, there are two different things between a pallet village and these God.
It started out as a
They're
Pallet
They're
Village,
totally separate.
started out as a Pallet Village, and it got converted to God Pods.
No,
In the,
Well, the pallet village
Original-
was something the city council has
totally different.
looked at.
right, but the concept started out as a
Okay.
Pallet Village in Laconia, which got moved to God Pods. As I went through, it was 200 and, yes, sir, ma'am.
Originally, because I was on the mayor's task force and they talked about villages and they had pictures of villages across the country. And it was something that that particular task force of the mayor looked into. And it never came into any fruition. The God Pod is a wholly different, does not connect it to villages at all. It's an idea that grew out of the real life church and the people in that congregation who had this vision and just created these. They actually constructed the pods.
I've seen them.
Yeah, so it's a whole different thing. And then they set up a committee and they within their church and they created this whole structure for how the God Pods would come together. And they have quite a, have you seen their outline? For how?
It isn't posted anywhere. That's going to be my next question, or one of them.
Yeah, I wish I had a copy of it for you, but I don't today. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
But I'll try to get it to you.
That was one of my comments that.
It's very well thought out. It has a lot of security issues. It really, those of us that have been in that subcommittee were impressed with the work of that congregation to do what they feel called to do for the homeless here in Laconia.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. But where I started it started out as still needing locations. We need a location. We need a location.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
again, the reason I opened this up right now is to talk about the two issues. Having the symposium or general meeting to get information out and when, all right? So if you have other discussion items about the Human Relations Committee, I'd ask you to hold off on those until we have our regular public input session. Okay, so just keep your comments, if you would, please, on the issues.
There's a lot of fear in the community. There's a lack of information in the community. It goes right back to, as you pointed out, you don't have a copy of the presentation. Nobody's seen it. It wasn't attached to the minutes on when they presented it to you, which is normal procedure, is to attach presentations that are given to the minutes. Nobody can find it.
I have a copy of them.
Well, and that's great, but the public can't find it.
Yeah, I understand.
So information needs to come out. So I would recommend that you have it very quickly versus down the road.
Okay,
Don't kick it down the road. and I'll save the rest for after.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lang. I appreciate that. Anyone else want to talk on the issue of having a forum or a symposium, and when? Okay, thank you,
My
sir.
name is Ronnie Abbott, and I just want to point out, we did this already. We already had these forums. There was one in every ward of Laconia. I went to every one of them. I took photos at every single one and tried to help with advertising and getting people there. People don't want to go to these. There's not enough information, and if you don't do it right, it's just going to kick this issue further down the road. You need to pick a date that's close enough, but put the legwork in so all the information is given. When those forums were done before, I mean, it was, some of them had 5 people. And that for a whole ward of Laconia had 5 people go to one. Only one of them had more than 30. It's not enough. We're not getting to enough people with enough information. So I would suggest that you do it soon and you do it broad. So all the information's out there for everybody. So it's no more question this, question that. Everyone can just know.
Thank you, Mr. Abbott.
I'd like to say that I agree with what Ronnie said because I went to the same one he did, and one of the ones that he did, and I guess I went to a couple of them, and they were. I remember when that happened, and they were not well attended. So I think
Right.
that is true.
That's why I think having the different groups that actually work with the homeless in Laconia already come invited and be part of the conversation, because they will bring a lot of people with them.
Yes.
Hi, Sherry Minor. I agree. You definitely need to have something soon. And like you said, for incoming people that may be running for office, it needs to be at a more reasonable time. This is I work till 4 o'clock on a normal basis. And people got to get their children from school. This time is silly. And bring all the people. I think all the people, but all the public should be there with the people as well. I work in a courthouse. I see lots of this all the time, but I'm not a mental health or a police officer, but I'm part of the public who, I live on Academy Street, which is a highway to a lot of the encampments. I deal with this often. I've been dealing with this for many years when we had 10 homeless people. So I definitely recommend the timing be a lot more specific to the evening when people can attend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Leanne Hanlon, resident here. I'm late because I was at a meeting. I work until 5, but I thought it was very important to be here and to show my face. Last week was the first time I joined, and I'm concerned. I want to be involved, and I feel like my showing up today is important. Forgive me, I don't know what I missed. I tried to watch online. All of these things are great. Changing the meeting time, having the meetings. It's holding everybody here accountable.
I'm sorry. What we're talking about right now is.
Yes,
having
I got that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I appreciate you chiming in. It's holding everybody accountable. It's what are we doing and taking away from the meetings to actually solve the issues. I live next to or on the same street as a warming center. I don't want these homeless people in our yards. It's not about putting them in residential neighborhoods. It's about fixing the problem. I don't have those answers. I'm an event planner. I wish I did. I wish I had the compassion and the drive to work in the mental health world or with homelessness, but I want to be part of the solution. But it's actually finding a solution and making it happen, not just talking about it. We could talk all day long. We can have every meeting we want to have, but it's actually putting pen to paper and fixing it, whether it's moving them out, getting them into housing, but it doesn't matter if we're not actually doing it. These meetings are irrelevant. So hopefully we can actually make progress.
Just your comments are right on point and very important. And I think that's the goal of this committee itself. The reality is we don't have authority to do any of that. What we can do is to try to get the information out about different parts of this issue and how people are dealing with them, so that maybe we can then find some solutions that the vast majority of us agree upon to solve certain parts of it. So yes, we want you to be a part of that, and we ask you to continue to be a part of that, and we appreciate that. And so our goal is to get the information out.
Who does it need to go to? Who is the decision maker and those who will actually put actions into order?
Well, it would be the city council, the county commissioners, the selectmen of the different towns around here, and maybe even the state legislature. All of those aspects, well, in addition, there would be a number of non-governmental organizations that would be involved in whatever solution or solutions might be suggested. But it would be our goal on this committee is to get the information out so that people can start looking at solutions to different parts of these issues. And the best way that we're thinking of to do that is to have this type of a forum and get the people who are actually involved in the day-to-day operation of these things to start expressing how they view the problem and what ideas they might have to solve parts of it. So that's our process. As I say, our committee is an education committee more than anything else, getting the information out, gathering the people together. And then it's up to government agencies to act on it. And that's where, again, the public becomes really important, because if you want the government to act in a certain way, then you have to get involved and make your opinions known. So you're doing just that, and it's wonderful, and we really appreciate it. So, Richard?
I'd just like to say very quickly, you had brought up actually, rather than just writing it down, actually doing something. So the first prototype of the God Pod looked like an overhead door wrapped burrito. It was just a weird shaped thing with insulated doors and windows. Now we're at least 2, maybe 3 prototypes ahead of that, and we have a wooden structure that's been scrutinized or being scrutinized with city officials for structural safety, as well as having it go through the elements. So even though it looks like there isn't anything being done, I established a subcommittee that had 40-year builders, people that know how to do that, plus work within the legal system to make them structurally okay for occupancy. That isn't anything that people see, but that's the truth of the evolution to what there is now.
Thank you. My final comments is, why does it have to be here in Laconia? Why do we have the burden of taking care of every homeless person in Belknap County down to Concord? Why are we busing them in here? Why? I get it. We're a community. We want to be helpful. We want to be compassionate. We want to be kind.
Well,
but it's exploding here. And I would love to understand what the solutions are to keep our taxpayers, our community, everybody who comes to visit in the Lakes region safe, and not just turn a blind eye. So I would love to continue to be involved. I thank you for hosting this meeting. We may not get to an agreement on time and place. I will try to be here whenever I can, and I would have loved to come to the homeless subcommittee meeting whenever that ignites itself. But thank you for listening and for trying to
Can I offer
do
one
something.
other comment? You know, you've raised a lot of good issues. And I want to say that if you were to try to diagram, you know, what's going on or what could go on, it would be complex, because you have not-for-profit organizations that are contributing to help. you know, whether it's a welcoming table thing or something that a church is doing or Isaiah's Cafe. There are a number of not-for-profit organizations that are helping people that are severely compromised, where they, you know, they're rough sleepers. They have that. But if you're talking about government, you start quickly talking about money. So hypothetically, let's say people think the county, this should be a county-wide effort. And let's say, just pick numbers just out of the air, it doesn't make any difference. Let's say you need a facility that cost $1 million. I don't know, pick any number. It doesn't make any difference what the number is. And let's say it costs, in terms of staffing, $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 a year to run this thing. Let's say that's a vision that emerges from this as a possibility. And you do it on a county-wide basis as a proposal. You have the county delegation has to approve this. What is the impact on everybody's property tax in Belknap County for raise $1 million for that initial investment on an ongoing basis for many hundreds of thousands of dollars? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not advocating anything, but that piece of it, if the discussion ever goes in that direction, and I think the discussion will, but is there, if you will, political will to have that happen? That's a complex discussion. A lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions about that. I'm not talking about, I'm just throwing a number out there. Forget about the number. It's not important. But the number isn't zero. Okay? Whatever it is has significance in people's lives. There's going to be a bill that gets plopped down twice a year for property taxes. Now, does that mean $13 on a $350,000 house? Or is it $130 or is it $26? What does that discussion look like? You know, in real, honest numbers, people have to think through this about what is it going to take to move this, if you want to move it in some sort of a humane, compassionate direction that looks like that, or whether it's something else about, applying some degree of human services as a boost. You know, you say, well, let's get them some help. Where's it going to come from? What kind of mental health resources do we have that are solvent in the county to make that happen? So it's a big discussion.
I agree, and I will leave with this. The nonprofits here, I'm a believer because of what I've seen with my own eyes. If they solved the problem, they would not have jobs and would not be paid. I think they're putting Band-Aids on a bullet hole. I don't think that they're doing the best of their efforts. They're pretending to do a good job in the eyes of the community, but they don't want to solve the problem because they won't get paid. Nonprofit doesn't mean that they get paid in beans. They just cannot make a profit in their balance sheet. So some people in particular, I'm sure they're making a shit ton of money to just move things around and not solve problems. That is my final comment. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Keys, and I just wanted to make a further comment on when this young lady just made the comment. We saw what happened with the people that came here as a result of the substance abuse problem. We opened the doors to them, and all of a sudden we became a magnet city for them. This is what's going to happen. God pods are very good. I commend that. It looks like a great project, but it's going to be an invitation for everybody in the state that has a problem to gravitate to Laconia to solve the problems. And we're not a village big enough to handle that. The amount that it would cost later on could explode to a point where it would affect everybody. So while it's a good program, I don't think our village is financially equipped to handle what is going to explode as a result of that. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, yeah. we'll have a chance to talk about some of these other issues, but I just want to remember this, what I want to hear about is should we have a forum and when? So I think that what we've heard is yes, there should be something. So
Soon.
we will proceed.
I go something to say.
I'm sorry.
I live on 45 Bay Street. My name is Vincent Rasso. I live a junction to the express lane for what is now your Pallet City. This is personal for me. I have a brother for the last 5 years who has dealt with addiction and is currently homeless in Nashua. If you want to tell an 83-year-old woman that it's okay to wait and not start spinning tires to solve these problems, she's right there. I think that actions need to be taken right now. I think that the timing, like Sherry Miner said, is inadequate for people that need to be here because they can't. I work for myself. This is a topic that's very important to me. And the reason I haven't been here before is because I cannot get here. And I think that we need to make that available for the public to be here at a time that fits their schedule.
Well, again, we're going to talk about our time for meeting of this committee, but what we're talking about now is the idea of having a forum to discuss the homelessness issue and when should we have that forum? But
The forum should be in process because the population isn't decreasing, it is increasing. And like this gentleman said, the explosion that you're going to get in welcoming a sanctuary city with an available product for these people to come move into isn't going to solve the problem of why they are homeless. I do agree that we need to have maybe leaders from Genesis, staffing at the hospital, your police. There needs to be a joint meeting and there needs to be a solution. But by kicking the tires down the road, you're delaying it and the problem is increasing.
Okay.
And that's where we need to draw the line. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think the consensus is that we,
How's it going?
Hey.
Joe Head. I grew up in Laconia. I hear what you guys are saying, and
do
it's
me a favor, just take your hat off while you're addressing us. I appreciate
why can
that.
you not hear me with the hat on?
Yeah, it's just a matter of respect to the committee. Thank you very much.
So I understand what you guys are saying, but I've lived around this my whole life. I grew up in Laconia and I've seen this problem, and I've seen it firsthand with family members and friends and people who's passed away in the whole nine. What you're doing is enabling people to do stuff and continue to do it. And what the churches are doing is funding that in order to stonewall us and just put us into the ground. You're not going to contain it with compassion. The only time somebody changes, it was when they have to change. And I'm not saying that you brutally do whatever, but I know for a fact that all the people involved, the EMTs and all that, they're not going to say what they really have to say because they're afraid to lose their job. They're just as tired of it as we are, bringing somebody back 6 or 7 times with Narcan, showing up to the same house, knowing that our tax dollars are just going out the window. You brought up what's going on with our hospital. I can tell you what's going on. They closed the baby wing because there's too many undersized babies because of the epidemic of crack and stuff going on. You guys are sitting here just passing the baton around. Somebody needs to take a hold of this thing, and the God pods aren't going to solve the problem. All you're doing is giving away our real estate and making a problem that somebody else has to clean up later on. And it's absolutely ridiculous that you guys sit here and think that's going to be something beneficial. Half of you are so old that I bet weed was the hardest drug back when you grew up. Well, I grew up around this stuff and I saw what they do. I saw the families wrecked. I saw everything that goes along with it.
You think
the problem I have is you guys took away the power. Our police used to say no loitering and make them leave. I couldn't even stay by the extra mile.
Should we have a forum that brings all of the people involved?
No, because like I just said, you're not going to get the honesty from the cops and stuff. The cops don't care because they live in another town.
So you don't think we should have a forum to discuss this, to get some people
I
together?
think we're here to discuss it right now. I mean,
Right. But you understand, we don't have authority to make any changes. All we can do, this committee,
it's talk about talking.
well,
What are we doing?
well,
I pay taxes. I've owned a house for 30 years.
Right.
Okay. And I'm sitting here going, what am I wanted to see what my tax dollars are doing. It's just we might as well have a sewing circle. This is ridiculous.
well,
It's a shame what you guys are doing in Laconia. And I get you guys have great hearts in the right places. You're trying to help people. These are people that the average person, I get it. I've fallen upon hard times myself and had to go get assistance. Guess what? I couldn't get assistance. It was all gone. It went to the gazebo and all the lights and stuff down there. You're talking God pods. They can't stop them from shitting in the gazebo. How are you going to stop them from being in? That's just going to be an OD
Again,
having. What are we
I
doing?
will ask you to hold these comments until our regular public input. We're trying just here about the question of the forum and when, and I think we've
Okay.
heard, okay, so.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, so bringing it back to the committee. Obviously, I think there's a need to have this forum sooner rather than later, it sounds like. So,
We do have another comment on Facebook. I mean,
on
Zoom.
on the Zoom.
Yeah. Ebony Moore, did you have
Hi.
a comment?
Yes. So I'm Ebony Moore. I've lived in Laconia for a couple of years. Um, Before that, I was in Mass, but I came up here like a lot. So I basically lived here for probably like 10 years by this point. And I'm a social work student. I'm about to get my bachelor's, and I think that a lot of these people made a lot of good points. But I want to point to what we were talking about right now, the symposium of different agencies to help with the homelessness issue is definitely a good spot. Because if we're having this committee and we're just talking with the committee and the public, you're not really getting the people from Isaiah 21, from Belknap House, from other places that experience this on a daily. We're just kind of talking about it in the abstract. And I think that having a symposium with all of these agencies would be very beneficial. Um, and I think sooner than later would be lovely, and probably like, I don't know, every bi-monthly, maybe like every other week, would be beneficial, because I mean, things change on a daily basis, and having all these people that have the experiences either professionally or um, in their actual, lives would be very useful in trying to get different um, perspectives on the issue. Because I hear a lot of these community members in this forum right now talking about how all the homeless people are, they're all drug addicts, and they're taking from the property taxes, and they're taking from the taxes of our hardworking Laconia, residents. But I would, and I'm sure a lot of these other agencies would also put forth that, yes, the homeless, like a lot of them are drug addicts, and a lot of them have, they're on hard times, but they're also residents of Laconia. And so my kind of proposition is that, like, yes, for some of us, the issue of homelessness is that the drugs are, coming through, and they were all pushed up from Nashua, and they're all coming in from different places, but now they're all residents of Laconia. So I think we should, as a group, like, and I think these agencies would very much help us in considering these people
No, listen,
as,
we were all respectful when you were speaking. We ask you to be respectful when someone else is speaking. All right? That's not unreasonable, so please. Now, Ebony, I'm sorry, continue.
no, you're fine, thank you. But I think it would be very beneficial to consider these people, whether they're drug addicts or they got locked out of their house, or, they're evicted, as residents of this community, because we shouldn't, in my opinion, we shouldn't think of the homeless people as, kind of an other. We should consider them as residents of Laconia, just like us, who are trying to get by. And, some of them have had, their hard times, and so they're on drugs, but other people, and
All right.
even them, like, they all have
Okay.
something to say and something to give
right.
to us,
All right, Ebony, again, you've made your feelings clear on whether we should have the forum, and we appreciate that. We'll ask you to hold off on your other comments until we're
Yes, sir.
open for regular public input.
Excuse me.
Again, our discussion here is
On
having the forum.
Yes, and I think it's very beneficial, and it should be, but it should be in the evenings.
Yes.
Again, the majority of the people are working people. They can't come at 3:30 in the afternoon. But now, to say the young lady, we're not talking about the residents here. We're talking about what's going to happen if we bring it in so that everybody comes in here and we invite everybody in. That's the problem, not what's here already. It's what's going to be here as a result of this. So I think that she misunderstood what we were saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
One more thing. Doug Robinson.
I'm sorry.
Doug Robinson,
Thank you.
Ward 5.
First of all, executive summary, I've asked for it. Someone had to have presented this at some point with an executive summary. That should be posted within 5 days. To someone else's point, it wasn't. It's nowhere to be found. I've asked for it from Richard Littlefield online.
There are
He
no
says-
bank accounts. There's no money flowing in and out of anywhere for your executive summary.
Richard, please.
Um,
I don't know what you mean by executive summary.
when this was presented,
When what was presented?
the God Pod program, right? There had to be some type of executive summary saying,
No,
this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to try to get funding. This is how police are going to be taken care of.
we're not talking about the God Pods right now.
I understand that. You're talking about, I'm going to get to that in a second.
Well, let's get to that then. That's what we're talking
Okay.
about.
Then second, we should definitely have a symposium, right? And we should definitely invite people here, right? We should invite Isaiah House. Great. And with Carrie House. Great.
Right.
And Hands Across the Table. Great. Every one of those is going to be in favor of this program. Every one of them, right? That's what they do. Someone else said, nonprofits get paid, right? So for every one of those people you invite, every one of those groups, I want a housing committee group. I want other groups. I want law enforcement groups. I want drug advocate groups. I want people to talk about the other side of this coin, right? You guys are going to invite 12 groups and 20 of them are all going to say the same things because they multiply.
Well,
I want to see the opposite side. Every one of these people, I believe, probably wants to see the opposite side as well. Even if they don't agree with not having the God Pods, they want to see what that's going to do to the public, right? Taxpayer dollars, crime rate, drug addiction, child abuse, sexual abuse.
Fine.
All right.
all right. So thank you. Okay.
We have another,
Person
Yeah.
online? Yes,
actually, we've got two people.
Oh,
I can't.
Representative Boards, are you there?
I am here. So I'm going to make it short and brief. Right now, we're talking about having I guess we'll call it a forum about this. I agree with Mr. Robinson that we have to have both sides present. We can't just be pushing one side of the agenda. I think we have to, if we're going to do this forum, it has to be fair and balanced and where we get to hear both sides equally. And I do think we need to do this as soon as possible so the public is aware of what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm Lloyd Wiley. I live on Davis Place.
Mr.
I have an apartment building and I have a lot of tenants that have issues. We have homeless in our backyard all the time, urinating, defecating, doing drugs, drinking, hollering and swearing. I call the police and thank God we have a great police force. They come and they move them, but they keep coming back. What I would like to see with this committee is no more closed doors meetings, open to the public and open to the papers and discussed where everybody gets the information, what is there, whether they come to the meeting or not. We do have a problem and I appreciate you all trying to solve it,
Thank you, sir.
but let's not give handouts.
Right.
Free money is just not free money. And they know that they're getting free money a lot. And I see them come whenever it's a social security time. All of a sudden, there's all kinds of cars around with drugs. They plenty of money to buy drugs, plenty of money to buy beer, cigarettes.
I'm sorry.
So let's just kind of keep the perspective right.
Appreciate all your comments on this. We'll come back to that, but I want to focus on the one issue that we're dealing with is that getting this form. The consensus is that we have this form and we have it as soon as reasonably possible. So we need to, as our committee, start setting that up.
Okay.
And it will probably be, it won't happen within the next month. I can assure you of that. But it will be, I think, as soon as we can put it together. And it will definitely have to include everybody, not just the people who are dealing with the homeless on a day-to-day basis, from a support or non-governmental, but also from the businesses and the residents. Everyone has to be part of that discussion. And as Mr. Osmond has indicated, this is an opportunity for all of us to hear from each other and hopefully learn something from each other. And as Mr. Osmond also indicated, we hope we can do this with some compassion and caring, and not just you know, a feeling of, we don't want to see this anymore. Because
Sure.
no matter what we do, there's always going to be homeless. So the question is, how do we address it in a manner that works for the betterment of as many people as possible? All right, so I think we appreciate, Mr. Riley, your comments, and I hope you'll come back in just a few minutes when we have, and you can.
And I just ask that you make all meetings public, put it in the newspapers so we all know what's going on, even if we don't attend the meetings.
Correct.
Because sometimes we just can't, make it to the meetings.
Correct.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will. Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
don't leave yet. I mean, you could.
Mr. Chair.
Another person from online.
Ms. Moore, can you hear us?
Hi, yes. Okay, so I just want to say on the bringing the kind of symposium with everybody involved on the only reason that I knew that this committee was meeting, today was that I had to look into it for a school project. I'm not even gonna lie. So I agree with the previous person who spoke, talking about putting it in newspapers and everything. I think putting it on places like Laconia's Talking and things on Facebook or on online and stuff will allow for younger people who kind of have a different perspective on things, I think, would make for a good additive to either to getting more people into this kind of forum, as well as different perspectives on it.
Thank you. Okay, so
Mr. Chair.
Carol?
It says, are we at the end of people speaking? I would like to make.
I think we're going to close this public input on this issue and we'll bring it back to the committee here.
I would like to make a
4:31. Thank you.
And to extend this a bit more, I would like a comment about how wonderful it was that a real life church decided they were going to help 20 people, about 20 people, and give them a place to live. And that's all they wanted to do, and they asked our help. And so we got kind of a small, maybe looking way to look at that. But the fact that a group of people in this community have spent a lot of time and have a complete proposal of a place to go that has fences around it, it has restrooms and showers within it, that people, it will be monitored all the time, that there will be services there, that the people will pay so much per week because they do have money. It's not free. And they have thought it all through in a specific way. And I just want to thank them for doing that and getting this started.
No, the public, no, not now. No, the public.
To see the whole thing.
I'm sorry. The public input is.
Respectful to the public.
The whole.
You will have an opportunity in just a few minutes. Thank you very much. All right. So the issue is getting this, no.
No, don't know me. Taxpayer, Mr. Minor, taxpayer.
I'm sorry. Sir.
No, listen to
Sorry,
me.
sir.
No, I'm going to keep it on topic. We don't need to kick this down for another month. I could pack a gymnasium in 1 week of Laconia taxpayers that don't give a crap about your God pod, but care about the homeless. Period. We don't need to kick this down another month. We could hold a forum within a week to 2 weeks. You need to hear from the taxpayers. That's who you need. Sounds to me like you want to hide it back under because you don't have enough people that are on your side for this.
We do not want to hide anything, sir.
Oh,
we're trying.
But you're doing that. You're doing it though.
How are we? No.
Something he says he doesn't have,
No.
she says she has.
I am going to ask the committee, who wants to serve on this, setting up this forum, all right? Because we need somebody to agree to do that. Obviously, I will be a part of that.
No, I'll help out,
I'll serve on it.
It can't go a month. I'll end it at that. Can't go a month. You
So,
kick it down.
all right, so Carol?
Yes.
Matt?
Yeah.
Judith, would you help?
David.
All right, so we have five of us who are willing to do this, and we will meet as soon as possible. Sorry?
She wants me to be on the
I'm sorry, what?
subcommittee.
You want to be on there too?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 6 of us then. So David,
Can't even think of her name.
Patricia, Reverend Judith, Matt.
Sure.
Carol Pierce, okay? I'll be the ex officio meeting member, or whatever it is. So we're gonna meet as soon as possible to start establishing some sort of a forum that will be as large a forum as possible, including Belknap County and the communities, and start talking about this, okay?
As soon as
So,
possible.
and the meeting, obviously, whatever we do, will be in an evening forum when it's prepared. All right. So, are we all comfortable with that?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, all right, fine. Thank you very much. We're going to move on then
You're gonna let the
in
lady
our
speak?
agenda to the multicultural festival. Judith,
You're
do
gonna
you have
hug
any?
people that wanna talk,
You-
that showed up for you.
We have a public input section on our agenda. We,
No, and then Nim got to
Sir,
talk, and then she got to talk
we,
again.
we
Let's
have,
hold some decorum here.
Judith?
There's nothing on the multicultural.
Nothing on the multicultural festival. Okay, financial update, I've passed out or sent out the
Yep, what makes you?
accrued funds, the endowment for health. We have $2,000 in our fund right now and the 15,000 in the endowment for health. And that's all of the information that I have at this point on that. I know that there is a charge for the advertising for Mingle Cafe that is going to be taken out of the endowment.
Get your check.
And then, okay,
Could I say something, Pat? Sorry.
on this issue, on the financial,
We already moved on.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. The next issue, the endowment for health, as I indicated earlier, we got a letter from them authorizing the extension of the time to use those funds till the end of 2026. Mingle Cafe, David, you want to give us an update on that?
Well, we had, and Matt can speak with, Matt was gracious enough to act as host on that. We were on the Labor Day weekend
Yeah.
and Matt brought one other person in. So we haven't gotten the traction that we
Yep.
would like. We have one more date committed, the end of November, I think is the last
November
Saturday.
29th, last
So
Saturday.
I think we had contracted with
Four.
four at the mill. So we'll put one more on. We haven't had a meeting, Carrie and I and Faith. We'll have to put that together and it'll
Okay.
probably look like that. Faith has had some ideas about how to maybe promote it a little differently, but I think we need to have this on the agenda for a more robust discussion about where
Okay.
it's going. I
Where
mean,
it's going? Fine.
I still think the idea is good, but it just, I don't know, maybe the topics don't excite people, maybe, I don't know. I don't know it's just not what I
hasn't-
thought it might be. Yeah.
Well, it's only been 3 sessions, so we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. Okay, Yom HaShoah will be next spring. We haven't started anything. I haven't met with the new rabbi, so there's still time on that. Black Heritage Month is February, so I don't know. We haven't done anything on that at this point. Okay. Mental health program. Did you want to talk a little bit about that, Carol?
No, I'm not ready. I think
Okay.
we can wait another meeting about that.
Okay, thank you. Know Your Government, I have been in touch with the Belknap County Commissioners and the administrator, and we're going to get started on putting together a program for Belknap County, which will help let people know what's going on in the county, how the government works at the county level. So hopefully that will be coming up in the beginning of October or the middle of October. Just a reminder, September 29th, the musical program at the First United Methodist Church, Just As I Am. The new business immigration, who is in and who is out. I think under the circumstances of what's going on, we've kind of pulled back on doing that. But I don't want to eliminate that as a discussion item, but there's nothing on that. Okay, the next item is meeting schedules and locations. Last Thursday, we had the special meeting of the Human Relations Committee, we heard from a number of people who suggested that we modify our timing of our meetings. I have met with the city manager, and my concern obviously is to find a time that these chambers would be available, and it wouldn't involve an additional expense or cost to the city to do it. He suggested the possibility that we coordinate with a meeting date of the planning board or the ZBA, because they meet at 6:30 in this room. So the ZBA meets on the third Monday of every month at 6:30. The planning board meets on the first Tuesday of every month, again at 6:30. If we were to meet on the third Monday of October, that would, I think, would be the 20th of October. We could meet at 4:30. Our meetings generally run for an hour and a half at the most. We would be done by 6 o'clock. The zoning board would be able to come in at 6:30, and it would be a smooth transition for the city because they would have staff already here. We wouldn't have to ask somebody new to be coming in to help make sure everything's locked up and closed up. So I'm going to suggest that we move our monthly meeting to the third Monday of every month
At 4:30.
at 4:30. So
Do you want a motion to that effect?
that would be great.
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, well, all right. Any further discussion on that? Now that, I think, so that'd be the third Monday of every month at 4:30. All right. All those in favor of moving our date, our meetings? All right.
Aye.
And that will begin next October. October 20th will be our
Next meeting.
meeting, right?
That's a problem.
Have we considered, if when we have public here, if they have to, we might spend more than an hour and a half.
Well, it might take more than an hour and a half. If we do, we will have to continue the meeting at that point. We'll have to issue a continuance of the meeting. But I think that way we're keeping the city from having to have different people stay later than they would normally stay. So I'm trying to think of the taxpayers and the impact on the city.
Are you saying,
Right.
Patricia, that
Yeah.
if the meeting goes over, we might run into the city meeting?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I think she has a very good point. So maybe we'd have to schedule another meeting to get more input if we couldn't do it. We'd have to somehow, I mean, if we have a lot of public input, we'd have to
Yeah.
find a way to honor that.
You just had somebody and you didn't honor it right here.
Well,
More than 2 days.
so I don't know what the solution is to that. I mean,
Just repeat what you just
if
read.
I'm trying to listen to this committee here right now, okay?
So
So-
how do we resolve if we have the public here and they have to, like now we'll run over an hour and a half of this meeting.
I think we just have to notice, that the meeting has an end to it and try to structure the agenda and move it along and have the public input.
Yeah, I think it would be,
contained within that.
you should be able to, I think we can experiment in arranging our agenda in a way that might suit meeting to meeting, if a number of people show up or and things like that. I think we should make the change and then see how it goes in progress.
Okay, so if we give this a try, we'll see how it works. If we run into problems with it, then we'll look at a different arrangement. All right.
I mean, I'm hoping if we have this forum, the people have a lot of pent-up desire to express themselves about this issue. But I think if we can have that forum planned for that, I think to some degree, I get it. I mean, people are upset about this issue.
Right.
And, this isn't really our strike zone. It's part of what we do. And all of a sudden it's gotten to be a big thing, and that's okay. That's good. But,
But we're just talking about our regular meeting.
yeah.
And I do foresee the forum of symposium taking more than a day,
Oh,
more than one
yes.
meeting, so.
Yeah, the symposium may be much more than one meeting. It may be multiple
So-
meetings.
Yes.
Should be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would, if you're gonna open this back up. for a few
Well,
minutes,
public input is coming up next
Yeah.
on the agenda. But
I'm hoping that in the public input that's gonna happen, because I think you folks have, many of you, I mean, I'm getting a sense of it. But you want to have people at this forum.
But we're not
that-
talking about the
that-
forum
that-
now,
that
David.
make- That makes sense, who should be invited to this forum specifically, other than, let's say, a general thing in the paper. If you want to write those down or express that, so give us some ideas as to who or what groups of people should be participants in it. And, specifically invited perhaps, that would be very helpful to us.
We need to vote on the question of moving the agenda or the meeting time and date. So the
I get that.
proposal is to meet on the third Monday of every month at 4:30, beginning in October. It's been moved and seconded.
Right.
So any further discussion on that? All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, so that's a unanimous vote. All right, so our next meeting will be October 20 at 4:30. All right. At that meeting, I want to also discuss meetings of subcommittees and where and when on that. So I don't think we're going to have any subcommittee meetings between now and then, at least nothing scheduled, right?
Martin Luther King.
We will have one. Okay, so
I'll talk to you.
we'll talk about that. Okay. Okay, so now back to public input. Now, Mr. Lang, you were gracious to allow me to
Wait, Pat,
move you back, so you get to speak first.
Pat,
Sure,
what if
appreciate that.
I'm sorry?
we have that lady speak?
She said she would wait for me. I spoke with her.
Okay, just want to
Well,
make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, thank
No,
you.
I didn't cut line, I promise.
Yeah, well, Mr. Lang was the first, speak first. All right, go ahead, Mr. Lang.
Okay, well, again, tensions, and there's a lot of tension in this room. And a lot of that tension comes down from a lack of communication. The lack of communication, you mentioned that you had a whole outline for it, as far as the God pods, how they're going to do things. The best thing that could happen is for those to be attached to the minutes of this meeting.
Got it.
That would be fantastic. This,
I will make sure that the proposal that we received, or the information that we received from the 501c3, I will have that attached to these minutes.
great. That
Okay.
was yeah, because it was a presentation to you as a committee, so
Correct.
it should have been attached.
Right, and I'll accept responsibility for not doing that. I apologize.
Oh,
I
that's
have no
fine.
idea, but if I knew, I would have put it there for you.
Great.
It's not that we're trying to hide anything.
Well, so
All right.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there, I promise. But a lot of the problems that I'm seeing when I go through the minutes, and we talked about it last time, which is this meeting being recorded?
Yes.
So we'll be available.
Is it being recorded? Is
Yes.
this question?
I heard a record volume
It
come
is.
on
It's
before.
record button. We
Okay.
have to talk to IT to figure out how it gets from here to something. everybody can see.
Okay, because it's very important, because the minutes are, I can't tell where you're getting funding from. You talk about we're going to use a grant, we're going to use an endowment for the homeless. I have no idea where the money's coming from.
The endowment is not for the homeless. It's an endowment, the endowment for health. I'll just explain that, Mr. Lang, if I may take a moment to explain that.
Sure.
Okay, the endowment for health, New Hampshire Endowment for Health, gave us, the city of Laconia, $20,000 to support some trust making and community engagement programs. We've done a couple of those already, different things over the past few months. We will continue to use that fund for that community engagement and trust making purpose to help get information out about different things that are going on. So that's a limited fund for a limited purpose.
The reason I ask sir, is it says our endowment funds appropriate and the mayor and city council to match funds.
No, they're not matching any funds.
Well, no, but that was one of the proposals, and you can't tell in here where it's going and where it's coming from. Those are in your minutes.
It means it wasn't clear.
Not clear at all. No. So again, there's a lot of things that aren't clear in here. When I start looking, I know part of the homeless are a concern. I understand that. But I see something written about possible hate crimes of 2 homeless individuals in the city. Is it a possible hate crime? What I didn't see is the condemnation of the 2 that started fires, one in Belmont, one in Laconia, in a neighborhood that did not report them. I don't see the condemnation of the needles. I don't see the trash. There are 26,000 more people in this city. That is a human relations committee. You're concerned about all the individuals in this city, not just a select group. And I think we've kind of lost focus of that. There's a lot of scared people. I've had several texting me during this meeting. And I'm going to ask this question again because maybe I didn't phrase it right. On your July 20th meeting, you shared maps to the group with 4 options for a plot of land and 1 building that are owned by the city. Could you please advise where those are?
It's a proposal.
Yeah. Just give me a minute.
That's fine.
There were 3 parcels of land that are owned by the city that were just based on going through the tax records of the city. We were asked by the subcommittee to see if there were any properties that might possibly work as a site for a homeless service of some sort. So based on that request, I did the research in the city, going through the tax maps and tax records, and found 3 parcels of land that the city owns that might potentially be sites. And there were 2 buildings that are privately owned that were mentioned. There was no building owned by the city, and the minutes that said that were in error.
Minute wrong.
Okay. So the 3 sites, there was one on Davis Place, tax map 412-60-59, which is Mr. Wiley right behind your property. 18 Wilson Court, which is a small parcel, tax map 411-4911, which is a small parcel adjacent to Department of Public Works. And on Province Road, tax map 476-3351-1, which is the former landfill. The 2 private buildings that were discussed, I mean, obviously we have no way of knowing what the status of those, but because they had recently come on the market or whatever, become vacant, they were included in that presentation. 84 Union Avenue, TM, tax map 442 to 2010, and 288 Union Avenue, tax map 411 to 2017. That's the Rite Aid building. So, but again, the only purpose in doing that was to say there might be property that would be available, but that would be up to somebody else to check that out. They could have gone to the same tax records that I did to do that, to get that information.
But they didn't as a 501(c)(3). You did as the chairman of the committee.
They can do that.
Which is my next comment, is that the city and the 501(c) have become so intertwined. When I'm reading down through this, and I mentioned it, I think it was to you last week, when I look at, we need to have Joya Hughes go out and promote this. We need to have her write a letter. I'm looking down trying to get an emergency variance to speed up the process for winter.
I don't know what, I'm not sure what you're looking at.
I'm reading your minutes from July 20th.
That's the subcommittee meeting.
Yes.
Yes, that's the,
Yes.
actually, I'm not sure, subcommittee,
Well,
Human Relations Committee,
Human
or
Relations
God
Committee.
Pod meeting.
Is that the full committee?
Again, that's
That was a remark you made here, I remember.
Well, I'm just not sure where it is. That's why I brought it along with me, because I don't understand that. I'm sorry, who is Eddie?
She's on the homeless set.
So, okay,
Uh,
well,
that's-
she's
that looks
suggesting the God Pod squad, I guess, request a 2-year lease with option to purchase from the city.
This is their discussion.
Your meeting.
With a subcommittee, all right, that's.
Your meeting, though. I'm sorry, his meeting.
No, it's the subcommittee meeting.
Right.
But that information is coming from the 501c3. They're asking us to consider that information at the subcommittee level. The subcommittee has no authority to do anything except to come back and report to us. And we, again, our only authority we have is to listen to them and perhaps make some recommendation to the city council. All right, so what you're saying is just general discussion of possibilities, thoughts, consideration, issues. Okay.
But do you understand where the tensions are high now? Because there's 2 people in this room, I think, that are abutters to that property.
Yes.
Right.
And I know one of them has been texting me because he can't get straight answers. So
what more? I can't give you any more.
no,
answer
but
than
we
that.
didn't have these answers. And Mr. Littlefield talked to somebody that was smarter than him that told him not to give the answers. Smarter than him. Would you like to say who that was?
No, that's all right.
No, I'd like to know.
No, you don't need to get into that. That's not relevant to the discussion here.
It very much is.
You're asking
him being
us
the
right
chairman
now-
of a committee.
You're asking us at the committee. Well,
Was it you?
He was. He's resigned. If you remember.
Was it you that he asked?
All right. So we as a committee have given you this information that you just asked for.
But I asked these same questions last week and you didn't have the answers.
And
Well,
we
the
haven't made
meeting
any
of last
made
week was for a
decision.
specific
We hadn't had
purpose.
time to talk about it.
You have to talk to answer where the locations in the city.
As I-
You told me to look at the tax
As-
maps. I've got it recorded.
And as I said last week, the purpose of that meeting was limited. And I asked you to come back today to ask those questions, and you did. And I've answered your question now. Okay?
Okay.
That's what I asked you to do last week.
Yeah, and here I am. As far as the forum, let me know when it is, where it's at, and I will help you publicize it. I will make sure it's publicized.
So when we had that piece of paper going around with people to sign up, give me your email address on there. If you put that on there, that would be great. And we can keep you informed on this.
You know, there's tens of millions of dollars coming into Laconia to deal with the drug issues, to deal with the homeless issues, tens of millions. I've looked at the 501(c)(3)s. I've
Right,
looked
so-
at their bottom lines. So to push this off on the taxpayers even further, whether it's across Belknap County, my last thought, if you're going to propose this to the Belknap County Commission, you need to include all the other towns in your symposium because you want them to pay for it.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're going to need the county's help as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lang. I appreciate your patience. Okay, Mr. Wiley.
Yes, one of the properties was on Davis Place.
Right.
It was stated that on Stratford Street, misinformed to mislead where they're thinking about putting it. It was put in print. And also said that this property would be good for the pods because they could bathe and clean up there in the river. Let's say they have it right in printing. I have a copy in my car.
I'm not sure where Stratford Street and Davis.
They run parallel. Stratford Street, it's on one side of the Scott and Williams, and Davis Place is on the backside.
Okay.
Okay, so just
Well, I don't know
misinformation.
that was misinformation, but.
But on Davis Place
Misunderstanding.
to put the pods.
Right.
That they could go bathe and clean up would be a great spot for them. Two, which they already nude, bathe and crap in the river now, which is not good, just not clean, and it wouldn't be a good place. We have Victoria Woods that butts the property, 29 people. They have to always see the homeless in there. I have 6 units abutting that we have to see all this stuff going on. As much as it's a great idea trying to help people that want to help themselves, not the ones that don't want to help themselves. Unfortunately, we have to consider this, that they don't know how to help themselves. We got to teach them. And, you know, by teaching them is you don't give them the fish, you give them the fish pole. You make them work for it, make them clean up, but be respectful. They're not. You know, it's just, it's sad. And I have tenants that have kids, grandkids, and they're all out there and they don't care. And I do appreciate you all caring and trying to eliminate this problem, but not putting in it where it's gonna not succeed. You have to think about it, not just get a quick fix for the problem.
I think some of your questions will have some partial answers in the presentation that was made by that 501c3, which will be attached to the minutes of this meeting. So that will be there. If you want to leave your email address as well, I will send it specifically to you so you can at least see what they've talked about. In fact, anybody else who wants that, you know, just give us your email address and I will send it to you. All right. I mean, we're not trying to keep anything from anybody. And as I said to Paul Lang, I apologize for not attaching to the minutes. That's my fault. And
great, but I like the whole community, all of Laconia in Belknap County to know what's going on so that they can, you know, also add good inputs.
But keep in mind that this is not what's going on. This is one group making their thoughts known. Okay.
For 20 people.
So it's not the city.
No.
Not the city.
Proposing this by any means. This is just one group. What we've done is we've allowed them to make that presentation to us. Go ahead, Judy.
I just want to say, in terms of the God Pod project, they have a community room with showers and bathrooms, and there's a fence around it. And when you look at the proposal, you'll see. We'll send you the proposal, and that'll help you understand.
But it still has to be contained and emptied and everything.
It won't happen if it doesn't have what you want. We want to make sure that you approve, people approve of what's going to happen.
We'll get that available, you know. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wiley.
We really understand your concern, really, but
yeah, I mean, this is,
we just need to, I think if you see the proposal, it'll help you understand what this is all about.
also let you know, let the public know that a number of weeks ago, I did a memo of our concerns that was given to the subcommittee and the 501c3. Many of the current concerns that you're all expressing are the same concerns that we have as well. All right, this is not something that we are taking lightly by any means. This is not something that we are pushing forward on. We're listening to members of our community telling us they have some ideas, just as we're trying to listen to all of you with your ideas and your thoughts.
Very good.
All right, so that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to take a position one way or other than being open to listen, okay?
Hopefully we can all work towards the same goal.
Exactly right, Mr. Wiley. That's exactly what we're trying to do, and I appreciate it. And all of you, I understand, as Mr. Osmond has said, there's a lot of emotion in this, and we understand that. We respect that. We are citizens here too. We live in this community. We care about this community. We care about doing the right thing as much as we can.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do that, and we're not going to ignore people. We're trying to make sure that everyone has a voice. And, you know, we don't have answers.
I know.
For the most part, we don't even know what the questions are to ask. All right, so we have a long way to go. But thank you, Mr. Wiley.
We have 3 attendees on Zoom.
Okay, well, let's get this person who's been standing here for a little bit. Well, Mr. Abbott.
Yeah, just a quick comment. If you guys do restart the homelessness subcommittee, I do not believe that a 501(c) should have anything to do with it. I believe it's a conflict of interest when their bottom line depends on what that subcommittee then brings to you guys. So I think that if you decide to restart that, it needs to be completely separate and not have any direct communication with the 501(c).
Well, okay, thank you. I'm not sure that having communication with them is the wrong thing to do, but
It's conflict of interest if you're making money off something.
Well,
Be the same
but
that brings it to
yes.
the-
Thank you.
Very quickly, I was listening to what you were saying about your meeting times, and it seems like you have a problem as far as setting up meetings because of what follows you. From what I heard, that you were not doing a meeting later than 4:30 because the planning board has a meeting at 6. So really, it's impossible if we wanted to have the meetings in the evening because the rooms are taken up for other purposes. So how do we get around that? Is there any way, like I know 2 places right away that would be able to be big enough to host any of those affairs that you have if you wanted them to have them in the evening? But it has to be in the evening. People are working. They want to be able to come to these places. And I run a nonprofit. I'm with the Knights of Columbus. And we cannot do our meetings in the daytime. We have to do them in the evening because people work. So my suggestion is really, if you have to, look outside of these chambers so that you can pick a location. And I have 2 or 3 locations right off the spot that would be happy to host you that are big enough and that are available in the evening. The second thing, and I don't know if you'll see this as appropriate, but in history, going back, the people that have substance abuse problems, they came here and were brought here because we were going to take care of them. We were going to bring them through programs, and they were going to be taken care of. The problem is, it all comes down to dollars and cents. I see that these people, and I was involved as a controller of a nonprofit, but the problem is that these people that run these programs have been going from meetings to meetings to meetings to meetings. And each time they have a meeting, they get reimbursed by the state or the federal government for that meeting. So the last thing they want to do is to have these people cured because they would have no source of income. So we see it when I was at the church on Church Street, that on Sunday mornings, the people that had problems would be lining up outside the parking lot to get their fix so that they could do what they have to do. It doesn't work. It's all dollars and cents, and we're going to have the same problem. God bless those people in that church that did the 20 pods. That was great. But the fact is, it's not going to be 20 pods. And some point in time, we're going to be responsible for it. And we just can't do it. It's a big expense. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody online? Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted to, yeah.
Jackie Fountain. Paul already asked some of the questions I already had, but I also want to just say, has anybody thought of what the root cause of this is? Because if you find the root cause, you'll find a solution.
The root cause of
homelessness.
Oh, yes. Yep.
What's the root cause? Find that out.
Okay. So online we have
Okay, online, excuse me, we have
Am I on?
Joshua DeLuca, are you on?
Yep. I'm not gonna beat you guys up or anything like that. I mean, a lot of the frustration I've heard from my fellow community members, I get it. I have the same frustrations. It's honestly, I understand wanting to help people. I do. Um, you know, my wife and we had our children very, very young. We were in our teens. So we had it rough, so we had help. We've also tried to, give help back when we can. That being said, we also had to learn choices and consequences. And by putting these pods in, I get what the hopeful outcome is, but I've heard more than one person say one of my biggest concerns is it'll become a beacon for more homeless to migrate into the city, and the city's just not equipped for it. Financially, the city really can't afford to absorb anything. I mean, the city's getting more than it can handle right now financially. And I get that the nonprofit was supposed to put all this, nice stuff up and all that, but what happens if, it went belly up? Then the city would be stuck with, a bunch of stuff on their land, which becomes a taxpayer problem. And, that's another thing that's another concern I had. Um, I think if you were going to try a project like that out, if it's on private land at that point, it becomes a completely different animal. Because you're not using anything funded by the public, and I get the nonprofit's going to, it claims they're going to pay for it, but good, pay for it on a private land to work the kinks out of it. I think people may be more receptive if, hey, this is what's worked, this is what hasn't worked. Here, data doesn't lie. If you have numbers to back up what you're doing, people are more receptive to it. I know I am. I totally am. Um, but just going right for, using a public parcel isn't that isn't it. Um, and just to back up everybody else said is as far as the meeting times, you know, I work, 10 plus hours a day. So me having to make a meeting for you guys, takes out of my pay. I mean, you know, I get that there has to be something out there. Um, but there's been a lot of good points made by a lot of the residents that have spoken. A lot of the frustration, I get it. Um, totally get it. A lot of the concerns, I get it. Um, they're this Laconia is just not equipped to single-handedly do it, and it's definitely going to be a county thing, not just a Laconia thing, because Laconia can't. And it's unfair to put that on Laconia. And that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeLuca. We have one more. There's a hand up here.
Okay.
Hi. Yeah. So I had a couple things. One about the meeting times, like a lot of these people. I know, I mean, I don't have a full scope of, what the committee can do in the city and things, but if we are moving toward what a lot of the people in this forum have suggested of being a county thing, or even with, Middlesex County or like Concord or something, Merrimack County, in order to really dive deep into the issues that affect all of us, such as the homelessness issues we're talking about. I think that going toward maybe, since the public forum kind of takes time from the committee meeting, in it might be better if we could, I don't know if it's possible, but ideally kind of find a time for a committee specific meeting followed by like a forum meeting, et cetera. So, and then like a kind of both kind of meeting, so everybody has the same information, but everybody has like the enough time to kind of air their grievances, so we don't go over into other um, kind of committees, kind of meetings. That's one. Number two, sorry, it's kind of a lot. Number two is kind of the as as I spoke about earlier, I'm almost done with my social work degree. As the to This is kind of to a lot of the people that have spoken today, who was talking about like, oh, we're not going to do a lot of things because these people who are a part of these agencies need their income. A lot of the people in those agencies have other things to do, really. Like there are other places that need them and other things that happen, but we all are really set on helping those who are in vulnerable communities and impoverished and things like that. So, I mean, it's really not a source, an issue of whether or not we want to make our money. It's basically just helping those who need help so that we can move on to the next group. So I really don't think that our income and how we make our money is really an issue of why we're not getting things done. I think there's a lot of just kind of bureaucracy and politics and red tape and different, meetings and talking, that a lot of things need to happen that a lot of people don't understand needs to occur in order for different coalitions and groups of people to come together and solve these issues. These are really intense, really complicated issues that, one meeting, two meetings, three meetings aren't really going to make happen. Number three is the issue of the root cause of homelessness. I really wanted to talk about this because and I'm sorry if this goes kind of off topic a little bit, but the root causes of homelessness aren't what a lot of people think. A lot of people think that people are just, losing their jobs and they're too lazy to get money, or they want welfare, or they want, things from the taxpayers or things like that. But honestly, just about 85% of homeless people it's generational homelessness. Their family was homeless, their parents were homeless, they don't think they're good enough to be better than homeless. And so they don't reach out for the resources, if they're available, to go and help them. And some people lose their jobs and their houses at the same time. So now they're homeless and they don't have another way to go. A lot of vets can't really get them a lot of jobs because they have PTSD. So they can't go out and go get jobs. So they can't get houses. And so they're homeless. So it's not all wrong and it's not all bad. It's just some people just really don't have the ability, either through mental illness and depression, anxiety and things like that, or just situational issues that bring them to this situation that it's inconvenient. I will admit it is inconvenient, but I just wanted to speak to that. It's not all their fault specifically. So I think if we go out and, like, as a community in Laconia and in Belknap County and Merrimack County, to think about, like, what if you lost your job in your house, instead of like, oh my God, these people are pooping in the river, which is inconvenient and very, very gross and just not good. But I just wanted to speak to, the root cause of homelessness in that way, so that, everybody has a thing. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There's someone else had their hand up? All right, and this is.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the time of the meetings yet again, because this.
Sir, wait a minute.
Oh.
Who is this?
Mike Representative Borders.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to talk about the time of the meeting again, because it seems to be a hot topic. I mean, the majority of people work to at least 5 o'clock at night. I mean, our delegation meetings and 90% of our meetings throughout the county wise are after 6 p.m. at night, where the hardworking citizens of Laconia and Belknap County can attend if they wish. I understand you have the Zoom capability, but it's very difficult to drive and Zoom at the same time. We really shouldn't be doing that. We have laws against texting and driving. I don't think Zooming and driving is any different. So I really think you guys have to look at what time you want these meetings to be, so the majority of our constituents and the public can attend them. And that's all I want to speak about right now.
And having a nonprofit on the committee.
That's it. Okay. Anyone else from the public? Yes, sir.
So, a couple of things. We heard about there's no executive summary. There's some type of whatever that was presented. You're gonna make that.
I'm sorry. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. It's just a hat, but that's okay.
I know.
That's okay. It is what it is.
It's
if it makes you feel better, I'll take it off.
Well, it's sort of the way I was raised.
I get it, and I wasn't. I was raised to be a man. That's what I want.
Right. So
so I hope to get that executive summary or the proposal or whatever it is that was originally given. Sure, she said she's had it. So I'm looking forward to that. You said you'd send it out in an email with the last minutes. Second, why in Laconia? Why does Laconia have to fit the bill for Isaiah House, for Carey House, for Hands Across the Table? Why? Right? Because every time we build it, there's something called the magnet effect. All right. Cato Institute will talk about it if you want to look it up. Every time you build a new program more will come, right? The Field of Dreams movie, right? It's a true thing, right? We don't need it in Laconia, right? We don't need it in Belmont, Hilton, Franklin. We don't need it in Laconia. We don't need it anywhere, right? Self-responsibility has to play into some of this, right? I get the mental health, right? We need a mental health program, not God pods. I get the drug addiction. We need to arrest, counsel, put in the sober living. I get it, right? There's things that need to happen for some of these people, right? I have empathy. I even have compassion, but I don't have any more dollars. I'm broke. Talk about one check away from homelessness, right? I work every single day to pay my taxes, right? We have to do better, and we have to do it better for the citizens of Laconia, the people that are paying taxes, right? The people that are running small businesses. I drove in here, there was 7 homeless between the corner and here. 7, right? Do I want to go get my hair cut downtown? Do I want to go shop at that cute little store with the little knickknacks with my wife and my grandson and step over needles? What are we thinking? Cut it out. Get it out of Laconia. Get all these programs out of Laconia. Help them move. Every one of them. And you'll watch our homeless program will go down. You know why? Because they follow the program.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you.
Hi, I just have one follow-up question.
The follow-up of your name again.
Oh, Leanne Hanlon.
Thank-
How do we get your commitment to schedule this forum meeting? The ASAP is not holding any of you accountable. Administratively, is it finding a room? Is it getting people's schedules? How do we just pick a date and say you need to be here in order to get this done? If we say ASAP, that is completely ambiguous, and it, as many of you say, can be kicked down the road. It's not going to happen until late October, November, then we get into Christmas and winter. So how do we get your commitment to change ASAP into a definable deadline of making this happen so we can share our concerns?
We have to have an opportunity to discuss that as well. There are plenty of rooms available in the community that we could have this, whether at the high school, the middle school, one of the elementary schools. We can certainly find a place to have the forum, and we will do that. I can't tell you exactly when that's going to be at this point because
Can we come up with the date of,
Sorry.
we need to look at this and have it scheduled by next week for 3 weeks from now? Can we say we're going to decide by next Wednesday we can have a location and a time?
I will assure you that the committee that we've identified will meet hopefully right after this meeting to start talking about dates so that we'll have some idea as to when the committee itself can meet to start planning this forum. But I can't give you any greater assurance on that on a specific date because we just decided to do this tonight.
No, I understand. I'm just asking for your commitment to actually get this done as opposed to talking about it and having another meeting to talk about a meeting. So it's just time is of the essence. We're
going to do the best we can, but we're just volunteers trying to.
No, I understand that. I'm in an administrative capacity. If I want to get shit done, I get it done. And I say, I need to, in the private sector, we're all held accountable by, I don't get paid if I don't do a good job. So I think we all want commitment from this group to say, we are going to host this meeting and not in an ambiguous ASAP. I feel like we're all in agreement there.
We are going to host this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you when because we don't know what's available, who's available, and how we're going to structure it yet. We haven't had a chance to do that, but we will do that as soon as practically possible. We all have other things that we're.
No, I understand, but again, we're talking in circles.
Can't give you a date.
If you talk today and put out a notice, like, why can't you say by next Friday, we will have met, we will have decided on something, and we will put out when this forum will be. It's really hard that getting the can kicked down the road. So I appreciate all of your time and taking the 2 hours that we've spent here today. And I look forward to learning about that meeting and attending as well.
Thank you very much.
Could I say something, Pat,
Right.
about this? As somebody who wants to serve on the subcommittee. I think it might be good. See, at first, my thinking was if we try to rush this, people are going to think we're trying to rush something by them quick. So obviously, I had that wrong in my mind. But I think we're going to have more than one forum. And I think we should not let the perfect get in the way of the doable. So I think it was Mr. Minor who said that he could help us get a spot.
No.
I'm sorry, sir. Well, I thought a couple of people said something to that effect. And I mean, honestly, I think if we could come up with something quick that would maybe focus on members of the community who feel like this is what I was trying to say before, who feel like they're very frustrated and they're not being listened to and what they want to say isn't being heard, maybe that would be a good first step. And that way it wouldn't be about every single segment that needs to be involved because some of the others will take longer to set up. So that's just my thought.
Okay. Yes.
I'd like to make a suggestion as to
Yeah,
where.
identify yourself again.
Jackie Fountain.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a suggestion as to where. The Colonial Theater, all of us own it. Some of us have never been there. And I bet you there's a lot of taxpayers that haven't been there and would love to go there. So let's have.
I will respond to that specifically. That the Colonial Theater costs money to use it, even though it's a city event. So, well, you know,
Never been.
well, that's great. And we would love to have you be at the Colonial Theater, but we've done events there and it costs a lot more money than we were expecting. Whereas if we were at one of the schools, we don't have to pay for that. So from a taxpayer point of view or your own pocket point of view, if we can do it at a place, pardon me?
Now you're worried about tax dollars or
Sir, I'm always worried about taxpayer dollars. I pay taxes
Can I
as
make
well.
a suggestion about
Yes.
this? I'm hearing what people are saying here, and that's a good suggestion. One of the things that we could discuss in the committee is, would that be an appropriate place to use some of this grant money? It may be within the purview of that grant to do it. For example, when we have the Mingle Cafe things, we pay rent to the Belknap Mill to use that facility for those meetings. That's a proper use of that. That's a much smaller ticket item than the theater, but that may be something that we can discuss. It's a good idea, and I think we want to do it. That's why we need a little bit of time to figure this out, to find out what's the physical scope of this going to be. And if there's going to be a lot of people, that may be a great idea. Maybe we can do that. But we've got to figure out, you want to be heard, but you don't just want us to listen. The Human Relations Committee we're a very small piece of a much larger apparatus in this community. And if we're going to try to extend it beyond the boundaries of Laconia, are we going to get selectmen from other towns to come in and listen? It's a good idea. Can we get the county delegation or some members of it? Can we get some of the county commissioners? These are people that would have to be involved in implementing this stuff. This is a community discussion, and we're facilitators. We're not the decision makers.
For sure.
We're just trying to have that discussion. So what I want you to do is to bring a healthy dose of skepticism, if that's what you're thinking, but I don't want it to fall into cynicism. I just want people to listen. We learn a lot more when we listen than when we talk. And that's a hard piece of this, for everybody. It's a hard piece. Nobody likes the fact that we have folks that are in this kind of condition. I don't think there's anybody in this room, that doesn't have a heart about this. But we need practical, focused solutions. We're trying to set the stage for a healthy discussion about it. That's all we're trying to do here, okay?
Thank you.
So, yeah, we're going to try to do this, but we want to do it the right way, at the right get the right people involved.
I'm gonna, I really was hoping that we would be done by 5:30. It's almost 5:30. Can we have just a couple more people speak?
Anybody?
And then we can close this meeting. I know, Mr. Abbott, you've spoken twice already,
Just
so.
a really quick one.
Yep.
I just want to point out when we did the racism thing down, that was like 2 weeks after the event happened. We had an entire forum together. Half of the Baldwin County delegation was there. People from the city showed up, and that took what, 2 weeks to plan it.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean,
myself.
if you can get that together in 2 weeks, there's no reason we need a committee with months in advance to get the first portion of this done. Let's just get it done.
Thank you.
Following up on what you just said, it's a good point. I know from being in management that just opening the doors of the Colonia is a big expense. Turning the lights on and the air conditioning is a tremendous expense. So I can understand that. But now you had already indicated that you were using the mill. So if you have been using the mill and know the cost factor for that, there's no reason why we can't consider using the mill for that meeting.
Correct.
Right. Just
Absolutely right.
an observation.
It depends on how many people we have, of course. If we're going to have a really large group of people, as has been indicated here, the mill probably wouldn't be big enough. So, I mean, the Colonial Theater would be great, and, we do have some resources that might be able to be used for it. But again, we have to look at scheduling and all of that.
Oh, yeah, that would be a terrific location, but knowing what the cost would be,
Yeah.
it would be a big cost.
Well, let's put the cost aside for now.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Patricia, did you want to say something?
No.
No, okay.
The Representative Borders has his hands up.
Pardon me?
Representative Borders. has his
Okay,
hands up.
yes, go ahead, Mr. Board.
Yes, I just wanted to say, like, we all have to be careful with taxpayers' dollars and such. I think we need to get a feel of how many people would be willing to attend these forums before we start dishing away taxpayers' money on, which I know it's grant money, but it's still taxpayer funds, on something like the Colonial Theater or the Belknap Mill. I think we need to get a good feel, and I'm good at that. I'm sure members of your committee are good at that, on a rough guesstimate of how many people will attend the meeting before we just start doing big taxpayer expenses. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Okay, so it's 5:32. It's been an extremely valuable meeting from my perspective. We have heard some really interesting thoughts and your concerns. They mean a lot to us. I can assure you that we heard what you had to say, and it's really important, and we really appreciate your coming out and making your feelings known. We have our limited legal authority to do much of anything except try to help get information out and hear people and have that community engagement that we have today. So we're going to do our best to have that forum set up as soon as possible. We'll check on different places to do it and what we can do, how we can do it. And we do have some resources financially that would cover part of it. So we'll do the best we can. That's what I can assure you. Do other members of the committee have any other?
I just like to say, whether anybody believes it or not, that I'm really glad about the way this is broken, even though I guess it was partly broken through missteps, mistakes, and just miscues. Because honestly, I came on this committee when COVID hit, a little before that. I came on with COVID, and I attended meetings before then, and we've never had this kind of engagement. And I guess it's because a lot of people really have doubts, concerns, suspicions. And I think it's understandable that they do. I would really like to say that I don't view myself as anybody's enemy, and I don't view anybody else as my enemy. So that's all I really want to say. But I do want to thank every single person for coming here.
Right. It's
not easy. I get it. And I know I heard what you had to say, for what it's worth. Thank you.
nothing else, I'm going to adjourn our meeting at 5:34. Again, thank you all for being here. Our next regular meeting will be October 20 at 4:30 here. We will keep you posted on what's happening as far as the forum. And if you have that piece of paper, if you have your email, if you want to bring that up, anyone who wants me to send them that information that we received, give me your email address and we'll put it on there. Okay. So the meeting is adjourned, so that this little subcommittee, we need to figure out when we can meet. Yeah, I know. Okay.